The EITI process is actually quite simple. It's a standard that requires that companies disclose taxes and other payments to governments, and for governments to disclose what they have received from companies. An independent administrator compares the figures and publishes them in an EITI report. This allows people to see what has been paid and if money appears to be missing. This process is overseen by representatives from government, companies and civil society in an EITI multi-stakeholder group.
I personally don't see many arguments against EITI. It is an initiative which allows for a consensus-building system of development, which is the only way ultimately that this will work. It helps to create a stable government and coherence in terms of the future that allows us to operate profitably and to the advantage of both ourselves, our stakeholders, and the place where we operate.
A steady, predictable supply of natural resources at a reasonable price is in the interest of everybody. So if you want to drive a car and you need gasoline, you have to have an interest that the prices in natural resources don't widely swing. The stability and the predictability is dependent on good governance. I think people notice that if there is poor governance, then they will suffer. And from one month to the other, it can change your whole life if suddenly you have to spend 90% of your savings on your heating oil.
We live in an interdependent world. Those involved in the extractive industries have particular concerns, which are societal concerns, not merely their own, which require a different type of approach. So transparency seems to me to make a lot of sense, both politically as a former quasi-politician, as well as in terms of business.
You got to build that trust. You got to build those relationships. You got to build the confidence. I think being transparent, I think being open, I think being honest from start to finish is the only way to go.
Transparency is the first step. It's not the solution to reversing the resource curse. It's not the solution to all the problems that are associated with the extractive industry. But it's a really fundamental and necessary first step because it at least brings about the information that we need in order to then hold governments to account. And EITI is providing that mechanism for that information to come out. It's about all of us trying to enshrine transparency into our own national processes and making this really a global initiative and a global standard.
I think the most important thing that the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has been about is that it brought everybody to the table. The battle against poverty can be won, but it's got to take everybody. It's got to take the private sector looking beyond the mega box of profits and seeing that they are successful only to the extent that environments where they do business really show successful citizens. Governments have to understand that their responsibility is to their citizens. And citizens have to understand that they've got the power to determine the character of leadership.